Pyramid Game follows Soo-Ji, the daughter of a military soldier who has just transferred to a new school, the Baekyeon Girls High School. However, walking into school on her first day, Soo-Ji quickly notices that this school is not like any of the many schools she has been to in the past. For one, her class, Class 5, is in a whole different section of the school because it was recently built. Soo-Ji also notices that Class 5 is the only class in the cafeteria, and the other classes don't mix with the girls from Class 5 at all. Finding it all a bit eerie, Soo-Ji gets seated next to Jae-eun, a quiet girl, who Soo-Ji notices has several cuts and bruises on her body. Later, while hanging out with some of the other students, Soo-Ji spots Jae-eun being beaten up by the school bullies, led by a girl named Do-yeon. In addition to Do-yeon, the class has a few other star characters, including Ye-rim, who is an idol trainee and very popular, as well as Do-ya, who is the class president. But Soo-Ji is in for a surprise. When Soo-Ji returns to class after break, she learns about the Pyramid Game. Basically, the Pyramid Game is a vote that the class takes once a month on a specially made app. In the game, each student gets 5 votes and gets graded from A to F. While grade A students get extra privileges, grade F students become social outcasts and bully targets. Through this game, the students of Class 5 have created a strict social hierarchy that keeps the top-graded girls at the top and the bottom-graded girls at the bottom. After downloading the app and sending her votes, Soo-Ji is surprised to see that she got 0 votes, and the girls who had been friendly to her suddenly start treating her like she is beneath them. As the class's new F grade, Soo-Ji soon starts to get attacked by the school bullies, and although Soo-Ji is not one to stand back, she quickly learns that by signing up for the app, she gave up her right to report the bullying. The only way to escape this hell is to find out who is behind the game and bring them down. Out of all the girls, the only one who is nice to Soo-Ji is Ha-rin, a pretty girl who comes from a wealthy family that funds the school. Elsewhere, we see a student smoking, and when Jae-eun shows up, the girl tries to poke the cigarette into her eye, only stopping when Jae-eun agrees to do anything to get out of grade F. Flashback to a month ago, and we see the school principal talking to the student about Soo-Ji. The student requests her to be placed in Class 5. So, who is this mysterious student? Well, as Soo-Ji quickly learns, it's none other than Ha-rin. But at this point, Soo-Ji is still only suspicious about Ha-rin. Meeting her in private, Soo-Ji asks Ha-rin who she thinks the creator of the game could be and why on earth would they make a game like the Pyramid Game. Ha-rin replies that it would be because they want to see the horror in the grade F girls' eyes. Creepy. After a group of teachers, including Class 5's Mr. Lim, notices the girls bullying Soo-Ji, Mr. Lim takes Soo-Ji to the break room. Hoping to find an ally, Soo-Ji confesses to Mr. Lim that she is being bullied. However, instead of helping her, Mr. Lim starts filming Soo-Ji, asking her to show him her wounds, forcing Soo-Ji to undress. Just as Mr. Lim is hitting Soo-Ji across the face, Jae-eun shows up and throws the teacher's phone into a kettle, destroying the video. Once, on the school's rooftop, Jae-eun shows Soo-Ji a video of Woo-ri, a former student who dropped out after being in grade F. In the video, Woo-ri was also forced to strip, and Mr. Lim then used this video to squeeze money from the bullies' influential families. With her mind racing, Soo-Ji begs Jae-eun to participate in the game so that they can escape grade F together. Up until this point, Jae-eun has not voted in the game on principle. Although Jae-eun initially refuses Soo-Ji to the class's massive surprise, in the last moments before the next vote, Jae-eun shows up and agrees to vote for the first time. With Jae-eun's vote, Soo-Ji moves up to grade C, and Jae-eun moves to grade D. Now a grade C student, Soo-Ji briefly goes against her word, slotting into the hierarchy of the class and looking down on the grade D girls. When Jae-eun accuses her of lying before about wanting to bring the game down, Soo-Ji replies that she'd rather cement being in grade C than risk getting bullied again. However, despite her resolve to play it safe, Soo-Ji ends up changing her mind after having a nightmare about being grade F again and decides that she cannot live her life in fear of the grading. Back in class, Soo-Ji convinces everyone to write their votes on paper for a recount. After stealing the votes, Soo-Ji uses their handwriting to figure out who voted for her. In addition to Ye-rim, who wanted to help her, Soo-Ji's other votes came from Ha-rin, Do-yeon, and her other minions. Ha-rin has planned this all along. More determined than ever to bring Ha-rin down, Soo-Ji and Jae-eun agree that they need to befriend more of the grade D students to destroy the game. So, as part of their strategy, Soo-Ji tries to provoke Ye-won, the girl who created the app. However, after Soo-Ji asks Jae-eun to try and also talk to Ye-won, she overhears Ye-rim talking to Ye-won. Apparently, Ha-rin had bought Ye-won a new computer in return for her loyalty. Realizing that Jae-eun is walking into a trap, Soo-Ji follows her to the school's backyard. In the backyard, Soo-Ji sees Ha-rin confronting Jae-eun. When Soo-Ji refuses to sit next to Ha-rin, Ha-rin finally drops her good girl act and blows cigarette smoke in her face. With Ha-rin as her enemy, Soo-Ji is set on converting the grade D girls. The next day, Soo-Ji approaches another student named Hae-jun, and by threatening to reveal how Hae-jun had betrayed her friends in the voting, Soo-Ji manages to get Hae-jun to agree to team up with her. That night, Jae-eun and Soo-Ji spot Song-hwa, a part-timer at the local convenience store and Woo-ri's older brother, entering the school. Following him into the class, Soo-Ji finally learns that Song-hwa also wants to bring down the Pyramid Game, and they agree to team up. With Song-hwa on the team, the girls are able to hack into the phone of their next target, Jae-young. They find out that she is not only a Monsta X fan, but also a pervert who takes dirty photos of men and women. With sensual photo cards of the Monsta X members in hand, Jae-eun tries to approach Jae-hyung. However, her plan doesn't work, until one day Jae-eun saves Jae-hyung when one of the students catches her taking photos on the playground. With her new crush on Jae-eun, Jae-young joins their team. With 2 days left before the voting, Soo-Ji texts Sung-yi, threatening to expose her secret if she does not join Soo-Ji's team. But instead of joining like Hae-jun, while Soo-Ji is talking to Yerim, Sung-yi suddenly sends a message to the class saying that she is going to take her own life. As the girls and their parents who were there to attend a parent event all rush to save her, when Ha-rin takes the knife away and Sung-yi explains that she wanted to take her life due to Soo-Ji's threats, Soo-Ji realizes that this was, once again, all part of Ha-rin's plan. In response to all the girls blaming Soo-Ji, Do-yeon suggests that Soo-Ji's votes be taken away for the next game. Soo-Ji defends herself by asking Sung-yi to reveal what she did to threaten her, but Ha-rin intervenes, saying that the whole class should decide Soo-Ji's fate by voting. When the class decides to take away her votes and Hae-jun backs out of their plan, Soo-Ji learns the hard way that it would have been better to convert girls by making friends like Jae-eun did with Jae-hyung, instead of through blackmail. Having decided to join Soo-Ji, Ye-rim, who had grown tired of Ha-rin threatening to expose her feelings for her deskmate Eun-jong, tells the girls that Ha-rin, who had explained the pyramid game to the parents the day before, should also be punished for leaking the game, which is against the rules. Unexpectedly, the girls agree, and, after voting on it, both Ha-rin and Soo-Ji are left without votes for the next game. Although Soo-Ji and Ha-rin are without votes in the next game, to Ha-rin's surprise, there are no grade F students. With no more grade F, Soo-Ji decides to start making friends, and she starts by apologizing to Sung-yi in front of everyone. Soo-Ji also makes quick work of her other strategy. If Ha-rin's goal was to make Jae-eun a forever grade F, then her goal is going to be to turn Jae-eun into the most popular girl in class. And so, together with Ye-rim and Jae-young, she starts a rumor about how Jae-eun was betrayed to be in grade F, which was true. And Ye-rim publicly befriends Jae-eun, which completely flips her reputation. Later, stopping at the convenience store, Song-hwa shows the girls the audio recordings that he took from a secret spy app on Soo-Ji's phone. However, despite being ready to release the recordings, Soo-Ji hesitates when Ha-rin threatens to expose her father for corruption. Is bringing down the pyramid game worth ruining her father? Still figuring out what she's going to do about the recordings, the next day, Soo-Ji, along with the other girls in Class 5, goes on a field trip to Busan. While at the aquarium, Soo-Ji overhears some of the students talking about what it would be like to join Soo-Ji and destroy the game. Also aware of the chatter, Ha-rin starts manipulating Ye-rim and Jae-hyung by asking Eun-jong to abandon her swimming qualifiers to protect Ye-rim's debut, which creates a divide between the two girls, and threatening to ruin Jae-hyung's brother's job interview. Although, ironically, this threat didn't have the desired effect because Jae-hyung's brother abused her when she was young, and so she didn't care if his interview failed. Before playing paintball, the girls are told that the game will decide the new grade F students based on who got shot the most. During the game, despite Ye-rim begging Eun-jong to prioritize her swimming career, when Eun-jong sees Ye-rim being attacked, she shields her and takes the paint shots herself. Later, when Do-yeon gets aggressive, Eun-jong intervenes and tries to stop her, but Do-yeon pushes Eun-jong into a wooden board with a nail sticking out. As Eun-jong starts bleeding, she is rushed to the hospital, and Eun-jong's coach texts Ye-rim that, apparently, Eun-jong can never swim again. When they are back in Seoul, the students of other classes start calling Do-yeon out for beating Eun-jong up, and, spotting an opportunity, Mr. Lim tries to extort money from Do-yeon's father. Instead, her incredibly abusive father just starts beating Dayeon up before she is transferred out of Class 5. That night, Harin arrives outside Jae-eun's house, and, cutting off her hair, Harin threatens to ruin Soo-Ji's father's career and tell Jae-eun's mother about the mysterious event that happened when they were kids, which leads to Harin hating Jae-eun, unless Jae-eun accepts being grade F forever. The next day, when Soo-Ji notices that Jae-eun is behaving strangely, Songhwa plays Soo-Ji some of the recordings from the spy app he had secretly also installed on Jae-eun's phone. Worried that Jae-eun might accept becoming the forever grade F after her conversation with Harin, Soo-Ji waits anxiously for the next Pyramid Game. But first, the school has to have its annual school festival. After performing with her pre-debut group, Ye-rim breaks down after getting a text from Eun-jong, who is still in the hospital, to congratulate her. The next thing the class knows, Ye-rim is being taken to the hospital on a stretcher. Back in class, after Harin tells the girls that they are going to pick one student as the permanent grade F student, Soo-Ji storms into the room and pins her against the chalkboard. Addressing the class, Soo-Ji reminds the girls of everyone, including Ye-rim, who has been hurt by the game, and asks them to delete the app if they don't want to play anymore. Just as Jae-hyung is about to be the first girl to delete the app, Jae-eun stands up, having deleted it, much to Harin's surprise, who was expecting Jae-eun to volunteer to be forever grade F. You see, what Harin doesn't know is that Jae-eun had overheard Harin talking about how, once Jae-eun becomes the forever grade F, she was going to make Soo-Ji also grade F anyway, just to make life more hellish for Jae-eun. Following Jae-eun, one by one, the girls start deleting the app. When Do-yeon shows up and starts beating up Jae-eun, the recording of the attack is live-streamed and, watching the fighting, even Doa deletes the app. As it turned out, it was actually Doa whom Soo-Ji had convinced to place the camera in the class to live-stream the chaos. With the majority of the girls having deleted the app, Soo-Ji and Jae-eun have officially destroyed the Pyramid Game. As for Ye-rim, she was fine and had been saved from her stalker by Woo-ri, who had been reading her Instagram comments. When the live stream of what happened on the festival day goes viral, the students of Class 5 get moved to different classes. However, Harin has one more trick up her sleeve. On a trip to the elementary school that Jae-eun and Harin attended when they were younger, Soo-Ji and Jae-eun meet Harin, who finally explains what went wrong between her and Jae-eun. According to Harin, she had told Jae-eun that she was an orphan when she was in elementary school. When Harin became the class favorite, the other students started bullying her. Harin became more and more resentful that Jae-eun had revealed her secret of being an orphan. In class, a young Harin watched as the class's Pyramid Game gave the higher grading students more food and other amenities while she had to sleep without a blanket. And, determined to change her life, Harin made sure to get herself adopted by the Baek family. Apparently, Harin never forgave Jae-eun for revealing her secret. And so, when they met again in high school and Harin saw how Jae-eun had forgiven herself, Harin decided to ruin her life using the same pyramid game that their elementary school teacher had introduced to her. Listening to her story, Soo-Ji claps back, arguing that Jae-eun did nothing that deserved what Harin did to her. When Soo-Ji calls Harin a psychopath, Harin responds by taking a fistful of pills and passing out. At that moment, the upstairs doors burst open and a massive fire started spreading downstairs. Despite Jae-eun and Soo-Ji pulling Harin out and saving her life, Soo-Ji ends up getting accused of being a bully and starting the fire, which leads Miss Choi, one of the school's teachers, to release a video of Soo-Ji being beaten up, proving that she isn't the bully. As for the other girls, with the school in the news and the Pyramid Game gone, Ye-rim quits being a trainee and confesses online that she has been a bystander to the bullying. Jae-eun also shares her experiences with the help of a reporter. What's more, Soo-Ji spreads evidence of the school's corruption, and all the bullies get expelled. As for Harin, when she wakes up in a hospital bed at a psychiatric hospital, she finds herself totally abandoned by the Baek family. Pyramid Game ends with the school being renamed Mirio Girls School after being taken over by the Mirio group. In the final scene, Soo-Ji faces off with the Mirio twins, who decide that they would quite like to play the Pyramid Game as well.